welcome to this, and this will be my review. See, I was able to do another one of Raw. That was tonight. The go-home show for Night of Champions. Well, the go-home Raw show. I guess the true go-home show would be the SmackDown show. But, anyways, let's get started. We of course, they opened with a little bit of the spin, them showing the Raw roulette and talking about the fact that, they were going to do the Raw roulette and the fact they hadn't done it in so long and this and that. And, they started with, John Cena and Randy Orton. They spun, to see what they would get. They got a tables match, so that was going to be the main event. It was a nice little setup. So we didn't have, the same match we've always seen, and it was a Raw main event that we hadn't seen in a while. And, without a doubt, they tried to, I think, pull out everything they could because of Monday Night Football, the return of Monday Night Football, the return of the NFL, and they're going to get spanked in the ratings. The show wasn't that great. I can't really see them doing all that great. And I've said this about TNA when I talked about TNA, and I will say this here. I think it's more important to put on a good show than necessarily worry about the ratings, because I think if you put on a good show, I do think the ratings, you have to give it time, and then if the ratings don't improve, then you can try something else. But you have to give it time, and you have to put on good shows, and you have to go out there and put your best foot forward. And I don't think they've been doing that. But this show was kind of a mixed bag when it came to that sort of thing. But so that was the start. Then they had Chad Johnson come out, and that was what it was. And he came out, did his thing. And it was pretty good. I mean, then Miz came out, did his thing, and then they announced that Miz would have a match. They spun the wheel. It was a submission match. I think everyone knew it was going to happen. Then Mr. Ocho Cinco said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And they made Bryan Danielson come out. They had a submission match. Of course, that's not between him and Miz, and that's really not what we get. Did Miz fake the hernia? Then they put Alex Riley in there, and Daniel Bryan, beating pretty easy. Then the Miz came and tried to attack Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan put him in his hold. And that was it. It was pretty good. Set up the pay-per-view match. Okay, I guess. I'm not so sure about Daniel Bryan, making Miz tap. That kind of scares me. That kind of makes me think Miz is going to go over. But hopefully that's not the case, because I really think it would be better for the company as a whole to get Miz without the title and Daniel Bryan with the title. Just myself. Then what did we get? Then we got Edge backstage. He spun the wheel. Came before the commercial. Came back from the commercial break. Then Edge was already in the ring. We didn't know exactly. Or Edge came out. Then Evan Bourne came out. We didn't know what the match was going to be, and it was a Slam Challenge match. Yes, Edge and Evan Bourne in a Slam Challenge match. I guess this was to show that it was truly random. I don't know. This didn't go too long. Evan Bourne did his little babyface in peril thing, lost. Then the GM made it Edge versus Mark Henry, and then which Mark Henry won, which was kind of weird. You would think you would want to have Edge win in some weird way to make him look at least somewhat strong going into the pay-per-view, but that's not what we got. Then we got Ted DiBiase and Maurice taking on R-Truth and Eve in a song and dance match. Blah, that's what I'm going to say about that. Then we got goodness. We got all sorts of goodness. We got Sheamus versus John Morrison. John Morrison, I guess, was told to go out there and become a star. Before the match, they had John Morrison doing, jumping off of things in the back and doing all sorts of acrobatic stunts in the back, which was pretty good. Then they came out and Morrison just did a bunch of cool spots. Sheamus tried to throw Morrison off the Raw stage. This was the Falls Count Anywhere match, and he did his cartwheel flip onto the floor. That was pretty cool. Did a couple of other cool spots. really good match. Ended with, I like the ending with Jericho coming out and hitting John Morrison with the chair. Made sense. We got a good, I guess, maybe 8-10 minutes maybe. Was a good match, good segment. Sheamus won. I think John Morrison kind of gotten himself over, which was good. So there we go there. Then we had Jericho come out, and Jericho basically said that, he wanted back in the match, which they said, and they also announced that it was going to be now an elimination match at the pay-per-view, the main event of, I guess the co-main event, the six-pack challenge was going to be an elimination match. I like that. That was good. Then they announced a mixed, or a handicap elimination match with Chris Jericho and the Hart Dynasty in a steel cage match. This was weird. I'm not big on these type of matches to start with. The Hart Dynasty was going to somehow lose. I don't care how it happened. This needed to be a straight-up match, not a handicap match. Anytime, I don't care what kind of handicap match it is, the tag teams champions should win, so who knows? I don't know. This was just, wow. Really, really, the match had a lot of good stuff going on it, but as far as selling me on the pay-per-view, not so much. Then we had probably the funniest segment of the night, which was, they call it a Trading Places match, in which both guys kind of switched gimmicks. William Regal and Goldust. Basically, Goldust came out dressed up as William Regal, and William Regal came out dressed as Goldust. They gave each other's gimmicks. It was pretty funny. Didn't last at all of maybe 30 seconds, where Goldust went into his trunks, got the brass knucks to do the Punch of Doom onto William Regal. Didn't go very long. Would have loved to see this go on much more to see what the guys would have done, kind of playing each other's gimmicks. It was funny. Didn't do anything for the pay-per-view, of course, but I don't think it needed to. This was just a good, funny kind of segment. They picked the right guys to do this with, so that was fine. Then we had the tables match, Randy Orton and John Cena. They gave this pretty good amount of time for WWE, TV main event, I would say, somewhere around 20 minutes. It seemed, and it was it was going along pretty good. They were playing off the crowd. They were doing kind of their own thing, and then NXT came in, went through tables. Then Edge and Jericho came in. They went through tables. Sheamus came out. Everyone pretty much looked bad in this match. Going into this match, Randy Orton did get, I guess, a somewhat of a clean victory over John Cena, where he reversed the Attitude Adjuster into the what's Orton's finisher? I can't even think of Orton's finisher. The RKO, which at first I was like, okay, what was that? I could tell that he reversed it into an RKO, but it was like, so are they going to say that? Are they going to call it a draw? What are they going to do? Because it looked kind of it didn't look like probably they had planned it. I don't know. But, no one really came out looking strong except for Orton. And I guess the idea is you're going to turn into the pay-per-view to see Orton win the championship, I guess. But I don't see that, as a selling point to the pay-per-view. So coming out of there was a lot of good stuff on the show, but I don't think it did what it needed to do, which was, of course, sell the pay-per-view, which is kind of unfortunate. So there we go there. And going into the pay-per-view, we had the six-pack challenge. They made it into an elimination match, which that's good. We have, the U.S. title match, The Miz and Daniel Bryan. I think that match could steal the show if they let it. I don't know if they're going to let it. It should be a fun match. It should be a match that they're into. I'm kind of worried about how they're going to book it, but that's just me. And then, of course, we have the Divas match, which is going to be the Divas match, and I'm guessing we're going to have a tag team title match as well, and of course the SmackDown matches, Kane versus Undertaker. I'm not too big into that. Hopefully they don't give them a long time. They just have them go out there for maybe 10 minutes and have, a good big man match, which I think they can do. And, the Lumberjill match, who really cares? And then, CM Punk versus Big Show. that could be entertaining. Hopefully CM Punk goes over. I think he needs to win more than Big Show. I think if CM Punk can somehow steal the win, I think that'll help get him over more. But we'll have to see. Of course, SmackDown will be, where we'll see a lot of this stuff, and hopefully they do a good job of hyping the pay-per-view on SmackDown. So we'll see. I don't think they did a great job of selling me on the pay-per-view. I don't know about anybody else, and that's ultimately how I think you have to judge this show. I think there was good stuff on the show, but it didn't make me want to really watch the pay-per-view other than, it's going to be an elimination match. But, I mean, am I going to, WWE pay-per-views, are you going to buy a WWE pay-per-view for one match? Unless you know it's going to be absolutely an outstanding match, which I expect it to be really good to great, but it's not so much that I have to see it. So there's that. So, but we'll see. Again, I don't think this show really did its job very well, even though I do think there was some good stuff on it. And the main event was just, I mean, really everyone just came out not looking good except for Orton, and I'm sure that's what they wanted. But I think going into the show, I think it would have been better to make everyone look really strong. And if you have Orton go over, have Orton go over big time. Have Orton, eliminate 3 guys or something. Have Orton look really, really strong on the pay-per-view, but have everyone go in looking really strong, and then whoever wins will make them even look stronger. At least that's the way I look at it. So, with that, I'm out. That's my thoughts on Raw, and later.